All right, we're going to open the Ad-Hoc committee for the rules of procedure for city council.
I think we did.
And this is mostly an informational meeting. We will not be making any changes today. So I'm going to pick it.
We do the introduction.
Oh, introductions. Thank you. I'm committee chair, Josh Palmer. This is Dan Darman. He is also on the committee. And Dennis Hellman, who is not present, is also on the committee. And Rob, big reason we're here is about public comment. Can you explain for everyone here what is required under the Ohio Revised Code when it comes to public comment and public meetings?
I can do that. And obviously, this is educational for the purposes of this committee, but knowing that there was public interest, I'm going to kind of treat it like, I guess, a classroom, so to speak, more than just representing the three of you and answering any questions that you may have. I did provide you guys some materials and an outline that I had made. First off, in regards to materials, so that you know, I kind of did this in an outline form. I wanted this to be smooth and accurate, so I'm not one that generally likes to read from my notes, but for purposes of making this clear for everybody, I'm just going to kind of go through it one by one. I did provide access to council, and I have two items back here. I didn't know how many copies to make, but maybe some folks can help us make more. One is the February 2024 Ohio Sunshine Law Manual. It's put out every single year in February by your Attorney General, currently Dave Yost. And so access to that manual, how you get there on the internet, is back there. You can Google search for that manual. Again, it is updated every single year in case there's changes. That manual covers public record issues, which is a bigger topic, but it also then covers what's called the Open Meetings Act, which is what we're talking about here. It has a lot of information in it. It's interesting. When you hear me say the Open Meeting Act, that is Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22. That is our section that says these meetings for city and village councils must be open to the public. Okay, that's the section that says it. But that manual has a lot of enlightenment in there. I would encourage you folks to at least look at it, because the sections you would need to look at are fairly small. I'm going to reference page 106 of that manual to the committee here. It does talk about the duties of a public body, which city council is. In regards to the Open Meetings Act, there are three main duties for an open meeting, and that is they must give notice of the meeting. We all know how that works with internet sites and the newspaper and so forth. They must make the meetings open to the public. We do know that as well. And they must maintain minutes. So anybody at any time can go back many years or meetings and see what was discussed, how it was discussed, or if they missed a meeting, they can find out what's going on. Those are the duties. That's it. What you didn't hear me say was anything about public comment and public speaking. So moving through that, another page I would reference in that manual by our Attorney General is references on page 117. And this is kind of the final say on things here that I think people need to understand and know. And again, what you're hearing from me it's not my opinion, and it's not my translation. This is what it is. In that section on open meetings, it has a whole section on, again, continuing on the openness of meetings. And there's an entire paragraph that reads, "There is a right to hear, but not to be heard or disrupt." I just want people to know, and I represent other villages in this area, that there is no requirement for public comment. There can just be none. That can just be the rule, is that there is no public comment. What the public has a right to is to see and to hear. That's what they have a right to. That's why there shouldn't be whispering at a meeting, council people passing notes back and forth, and so forth. So there does not have to be any public comment. What I want to make clear also for folks, and I mentioned it already, is that Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 is the section that governs this. And that is the Open Meetings Act. And if you read it, it states that meetings must be open to the public. There's a lot of other information in that statute section, but the one thing you will not find is any requirement that there be public comment. Again, it is not required. What you will learn through reviewing these manuals, and one is also a video, I think it's only 7 minutes of a video. It does a quick overview. I think you'll find that enlightening. Is that the key to public meetings is transparency. and maintaining an open government. That's our key. We don't want things done in secret. We don't want council people whispering. We want the public to be able to come and see and hear how their government works and how they make the decisions that they're making. What you all folks also have as a committee is I have provided you a copy of a case. And I think we have some copies of that case, but if not, we can get that done. The case name is Drake versus Steinahan. It's a United States District Court case. This came out last September of 2023. So just last fall, I was lucky enough to find a case because there's not a lot of case law on public comment because there's not a lot of issues around it. There's a lot more case law around what is a public meeting and so forth, or especially on the public record side, but there's not a lot of case law on the public comment. This one just came out, and I just want the crowd to know that the short facts of the case and for this committee is it did involve a disgruntled citizen who felt like his right to speak at council meetings was always being restricted, that he couldn't have his say, and that he was being threatened and actually had been removed from meetings. His claims, he filed First Amendment claims in the United States District Court, and he did lose, and I'm going to tell you why. The analysis of that case to certain points of interest, again, I hate to read, but these are important for you guys to hear. The court found in that case, and this is a governing court, for us in Ohio, okay? It does govern us, and there shouldn't be anything in conflict, and I did not find that. In doing research as lawyers, there's a system we call shepherdizing. I don't know where that name came from, but when you do have a case that you like or you want to look at, there is a way to search that case to make sure that there hasn't been changes since it came out. Now, this case is just from September 2023. I highly doubted there would be any changes, and in fact, there were not. So what the court found in that case is that the purpose of an open meeting is to give members of the public access to meetings of a government body, but that access does not give members of the public the right to participate or speak at a meeting. So I'm reiterating that so everybody knows that. It is sort of a privilege when villages and cities allow public comment. The public is entitled to see and hear what happens at a meeting. Something else they reiterate. In the case, I wanted to be sure that this committee noted, and that also the public here today, that the rules in that case are on page 2 of 9, and you guys have my notes on this, okay? So after today, you have plenty to look at and thinking about what you're going to do for rules. But the rules in that particular case is that there were not to be personal attacks, there was not to be inflammatory language. In that case, that particular body, it was a city, gave 5 minutes for a person to be heard. Like Findlay, it could be extended by vote of council. There could not be personal attacks. There could not be disruption. It had to be on the agenda topics. And if it was not on the agenda topic, then you had to wait till the next meeting and put this council on notice of what that was you wanted to talk about non-agenda, and you had to wait till the next meeting. So a little bit more rules than what we have here. The court noted that cities have a legitimate government interest in conducting orderly government meetings. You'll see a side note in my notes to this committee. I had the opportunity to talk to an area judge, and he kind of reminded me of, he was in municipal law before being a judge, and said, you need to remember that it is the council's meeting, not the public's meeting. It's the council's meeting. It's how you do business. It's how you discuss money, pay bills, deal with problems. This case, again, you can get copies for anyone that wants it, discusses, and this is where it really comes down to, it is a doctrine called it's limited public forums. So you have the right to maybe be at Riverside Park and scream and yell about voting for Trump or whatever topic you want to talk about, and wave banners or talk about abortion or whatever you want. That's open. That's public property. You can't be restricted there. We're talking about First Amendment issues with that. But council meetings, village meetings, commission meetings, those get a label of limited public forums, meaning it's a meeting set up by a government for a particular government purpose. For city council is to run the city. And because of that, there can be restrictions on speech. What typical restrictions you see is no attacks, curse words, maybe a limitation on time, 3, 4, 5 minutes, those kind of things. How you sign up, how your name is recorded, and those things. So all those things can be done, which wouldn't be done, let's say, in the Riverside Park setting. So speech can be controlled. The limitations only have to be reasonable, and there is no definition of what reasonable is. Okay, that's why we have courts, and that's why we have litigation.
Hey, Rob, can I stop you? So in regards to the definition of reasonable, and that leaves us open, we put a limitation on speech, that leaves us open to potentially a lawsuit.
Well,
Depending on.
you can't protect yourself from anybody filing a lawsuit on something, but you want to think about rules being reasonable.
Yeah.
So for instance, I'm famous for bad examples, but the city of Findlay has 4 minutes is your time to speak, but Macomb is 3. The city of Columbus I'm going to talk about is 5. So if you know those things and you want to give people 30 seconds, that doesn't make any sense because nobody else is doing it. And we all know as people, you're not going to get a lot out in 30 seconds. And I would say that if I'm on council and someone says, I want the public comment to be 20 minutes per person, I'd say, you're crazy. I think it's unreasonable the other way, because if you have 10 people speak, you could be there all night. And the key to that is you're not getting any business done. The city or commission or whatever it is needs to get that business done. So reasonable comes out a lot in the law world. I like to use the word common sense. So 30 seconds would not make any sense. You're basically telling people they can't talk, but don't forget, you can tell people they can't talk if that's your rule. Not case by case basis, but as a general rule, council, a village or a city could say, we don't have public comment here. Does that answer?
Yeah, perfect question.
Okay. This court also analyzed that the Constitution of the United States does not grant any right to be heard at meetings of public bodies. And that rules or restrictions for public comment just need to be reasonable. And again, this court, and I'm telling you now, there is no definition of what reasonable is. What I would want to note for this committee in considering any rule changes is that the city of Findlay, in most places, do. I don't think some of my villages do because no one's ever asked. But the city of Findlay allows written comment. So on a very technical topic, a guy who's really smart or gal on some issue could put it in letter form and it could be 15 pages long. City of Findlay allows that. It is another form of communication. And that's what this court is looking at, is that this council provides public access in other ways than just public comment. A person may not be able to come to a meeting because of work or health or whatever, but they can certainly have help writing a letter or write the letter themselves and get it submitted for consideration and get it to whatever committee it may need to go to, right? So City of Findlay allows that. I wouldn't forget that. While I did find, and I'm just speaking out loud to this committee, right? While I did find that even the city of Columbus restricts the number of speakers on the same topic, the city of Findlay does that. It's 3 on the same topic. That's the only one when I read through here, I kind of look at and say, well, what if I've got something really important to say and the 3 people ahead of me don't do a very good job, and now I had this great speech, now maybe I have to wait, but that's the only one I take issue with. If you're trying to get the issues ironed out and somebody wants to be the 4th person or 5th person on a certain topic, they might have something really beneficial to say for council.
We have waived that.
Right, and that's fine, because you guys can't always waive your rules by a motion and a vote. I was asked to kind of pull some other examples. I pulled the city of Columbus because that's our state capital and their city council, and I guess, they're governing over 900,000 people. And, their rules are far more intricate than our own. You have to fill out forms. The topic you want to speak about has to be on the agenda. It has all the non-disparaging language. It has the time limits. It has all of that in there. They also conduct their public comment at the end of their meetings. I suppose any council can put it wherever they want, but they do theirs at the end. I also pulled, because I was talking about Dave Yost, I also pulled, it's the Ohio Attorney General Elder Abuse Commission meetings. I figure elder abuse is an important topic, and this is also an Ohio government body down in Columbus. It's operated by the Attorney General's office, so I hope they know what they're doing. In their list of rules that you can print off, and I did, in their comment on public speaking, that they don't allow any discussion on current investigations, active case matters, or pending litigations. You must make a request to speak a week in advance prior to any meeting. There must be respect shown for the process and those attending the meeting. Personal attacks are not appropriate. Chairperson has responsibility to ensure the appropriate behavior is maintained. 5 minutes is their rule. They can limit the number of people speaking on any or on the same topic. So while I kind of take issue with that, Dave Yost and his own committee does not. And items or questions presented as public comment will be presented as the final item of the meeting agenda. They also do it at the end. Okay, if anybody's curious about where it should be in an agenda, traditionally we see it towards the beginnings, but I guess you can put it wherever the heck you want. Bottom line here is the rules that the city of Findlay have in place now certainly fall within the lines of this information. It certainly falls in line with a federal court case that just came out last September. So all I can tell this committee is if you're going to make rule changes, they need to be reasonable. And I think you need to look at it in the sense of what's the city's needs, because every village, every city, every commission is different in the way that they operate. There's some are big and some are small, some are busy and some are not. So, I've sat on meetings where the person in charge says you've got 3 minutes, and the next thing I know, they're on minute 15 and no one's ever interrupted them. But that's just the way it goes. Okay, it's their meeting, they'll go the way they want, I guess. But I want the public again to understand there is a difference between your First Amendment right to be in Dorney Plaza or Riverside Park and talk about the topic you want to talk about or protest about or whatever it may be, versus being at a village or city council meeting. There can be restrictions on speech. It is the idea of those meetings is to get business done. It needs to get done. They can't be sabotaged by 50 people showing up and talking on the same topic, or talking too long, or being disruptive. There was a case even where a gentleman who was upset at that commission or council wore a ninja mask. I'm not sure what a ninja mask is, but he sat in the crowd with a ninja mask. It unnerved some of the council members, and it unnerved some of the people in the crowd, whatever the topic was to a crowd. And even though he didn't say a word, he was expressing something by this ninja mask. They asked him to leave. He filed a lawsuit. He lost because it was disruptive to the meeting and the business they were trying to get done, because people were concerned, people weren't able to focus or pay attention. So again, reasonableness is the key. This is not a complicated topic, but it is an interesting one, because some people will often say, how can you restrict my speech? Well, that is the whole idea of this, of the notion of it being a limited forum and the ability to do that. And the idea is that there's business to get done. You guys have any questions on that?
I don't. I think that's very thorough.
I've given you some of
presentation.
these top, really the one to look at is the Drake v. Stanahan case. And case law like this can be pulled off the internet. By just even typing the name in as a Google search, you can find it for free. There would be no charge. I heard that maybe there were some copies made, but nonetheless, that case really analyzes this. It hasn't changed. The last case I found was back into the 70s, but I'm sure it's going back pretty far. The idea of how public comments work for public meetings is not an evolving topic like public records or other topics as years go by.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. That was enlightening.
I don't know what else to tell you, but
So I guess my only comment would be the city of Findlay has had a long history of giving the citizens the privilege to speak in public meetings. And I guess I'm still in support of that. I don't necessarily want to change that. So I think we should allow our citizens to speak.
I had somebody do some research and in our surrounding areas, and I think they found one village, I think it was a village, not in Hancock County, that did not allow public comment. And maybe there was a good reason for that over the years, or maybe whatever. But that would be rare to say We're just not gonna have public comment. You can sit and listen and watch, but you can't speak. That would be rare, but it is permitted.
I would like to restructure our meeting, if I may.
Yes.
Okay.
go ahead.
Similar, you just talked about for the city of Columbus, and I think that's what I'm going to propose here. So we were asked what the purpose of this meeting, and I believe certain members of the audience and members of council and the administration feel like they're not really being heard, understood or respected. And as soon as people feel disrespected, it gets very emotional and it's distracting to the purpose of the meeting. So remember, the purpose of the meeting is for us to conduct the city business, right? So when I was asked about the purpose, I said to improve the public input process. So what I meant by that is, how do we minimize the disruption to the meeting without suppressing anybody's freedom of speech? So my proposal is to restructure the council meeting exactly like our planning commission meetings are, just like the City of Columbus and others are. The planning commission, the meeting presider introduces the topic and invites the speakers from the audience to present on that topic in real time while it's on the floor being discussed by council. So the advantage of this is they're presenting to council in real time. Currently, speakers are presenting at the beginning of the meeting. Some of these meetings are pretty long, so a lot of your comments you speak at the beginning. That topic doesn't hit the floor until an hour later, and I think it loses its impact. So I think by having people speak in real time, I think their message will be better heard. So any speaker that wants to speak on an agenda item would identify the agenda on their speaker form that goes to President Harrington. And the presider would call on them when that agenda item is being discussed. So the speaker needs to stay on the topic of that agenda item. So then for speakers that are not speaking to a specific agenda item, they'd also indicate that on their form, and they would be scheduled to speak towards the end of the meeting after new business. So I think the advantage of this structure is it allows city council to focus on conducting the city's business, getting through the agenda, and then once council gets through the agenda, we can focus the attention on the speakers. I think what I like about this allows council to execute the city's business more efficiently without suppressing anybody's freedom of speech. So that's what I propose, I guess.
I think that's an interesting idea to say this, and there's some merit to that.
It seems consistent with what the city of Columbus is doing.
Definitely.
So
I think when we have our second ad hoc committee meeting, that'd be something to dive into.
okay. So I took the meeting minutes and marked them up. You want to go through this?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ro, I'll give you a copy. So I started with, Grant Russell gave me this file. And so these are the starting point was the rules that we approved on January 2nd of this year. So that was the starting point. That's the document. And then I watermarked it draft and I did track changes. Okay. So if you could go to the first comment I want to talk about is on page 8 of 20. So we have public communications, it says written communications, and then oral communications. We're crossing out oral communications then. This is the agenda of the meeting. And then basically after we go through the meeting agenda, it goes down to unfinished business, new business, and then we put in, there's Danny. Then we go through public oral communications. Here, Danny, kind of walking through.
Thank you.
I'm on page 8.
Thank you.
Okay, so at the end, after new business, we would go through public oral communications, non-specific to an agenda item. And then after all those public speaking would be done, then we go to adjournment. Okay, so then the next topic I'd like to start is on page 10 of 20. It's under oral communication. So speakers from the gallery can speak to a specific item on the agenda or a non-specific agenda item. Speakers addressing a specific item will be called upon by the presiding officer during the discussion of that agenda item. speakers addressing non-agenda items will be called upon by the presiding officer to speak after new business. Speakers from the gallery shall be required to fill out a form giving the speaker's name, address, and the specific agenda item addressed by his or her presentation. The speaker can specify on the form that they will be presenting on a non-agenda item. The form goes to the presiding officer, form becomes part of the official record. Council will not entertain incomplete speaker forms. That's all consistent with what's. Okay, and then I added a comment towards the end of that. When speaking on a specific agenda item, the speaker shall stay on topic without straying to other subjects. Each speaker can only present once per meeting. So then the next, no, actually, that's the last comment on that. So basically, that's it. So basically, we're gonna, if it's specific to an agenda item, they'll be called up while that agenda item is being discussed. If it's not specific to an agenda, it would be after new business, and all the same rules still apply. Still have the 4 minutes and, you know, all the other rules apply. Just kind of restructuring it, and I think it helps us get through our business, and it doesn't suppress anybody's freedom of speech.
The benefits though is that we are on that agenda item. What was said is right there and it's fresh. We don't lose it throughout the meeting.
It's in real time. That's all I have on that. Now Denise DeVore
had one.
sent us several comments, and I just wanted to, and I included those in these too. So if you want to turn to page 4 of 20, Denise requested, instead of getting the all reports and written communications from public administration officials, department heads, and employees shall be delivered to the council office by noon on Wednesday. So it used to be Friday. She would like to change that to Wednesday. So she would just like to get,
It's like
those agenda items 2 days earlier so she can get her work done. Pardon me?
We need that.
Oh, you're okay.
We have one person doing that.
I did get a comment from one council member that their concern is if we move it up too early, there's to be more and more things brought up that are not on the agenda, just kind of last minute add-ins. So I don't know if that's an issue to you. I don't know.
It's gonna happen regardless.
Okay, well, it will increase more, I think. And then the other,
14 of 20.
okay. Yes, so 14 to 20 under minutes. Denise was saying that it takes her anywhere between 2 and 4 days to write up the meeting minutes. It's a big task, and she gets disrupted a lot. And so she just wanted to change the time of when they were due. So the clerk of council, which is Denise, shall deliver by email or otherwise make available minutes of each regular and special meeting, 2 or 4 each elected official, and she put it as soon as approved by the president of council, or in the absence of president of council, president pro tem. And we're crossing out not more than 7 days after such meeting.
Just taking out the time requirement.
So what we have to have some, you can't do minutes a month later, right? So my suggestion, I put this, consider alternative language. The clerk of court shall make best effort to deliver by email or otherwise make minutes of each regular and special meeting, 2 or 4 each elected official, by the next regularly scheduled council meeting. So we try to keep it in a 2-week window. I think we need to have some.
I'd like to see the minutes, more than just before next scheduled meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Friday, these packets go out on Friday.
Oh,
Should be.
oh, that's fine. idea.
That would be
Yeah.
logical.
That would be like 10 days.
Right, it'd be a 10-day. Also,
That's a better idea.
Okay,
We can hash that out at our next meeting.
okay.
agenda item. Next.
Yeah.
Yep.
you got it. Next topic was, she had another about the second meeting in January. We had, the mayor is at a conference. President Pro Tem was out of town, and then our president of council is sick, and we almost lost all three of them. Now, Harrington ended up coming in, but he wasn't feeling good. So, and the question came up, well, what happens if all three are out? So our rules say that we need to amongst us agree to find one president, like a temporary president pro tem. The question is, do we have to have a mayor at a meeting? I mean, do we, in that case, if all three are gone, would we have to appoint two? Or if we have to have a mayor, can we just have a president pro tem, a temporary president pro tem run the meeting, and that's enough to proceed on that meeting? I guess that's. I didn't hear your answer. But.
Well, I'm questioning this. I do more village work than city work, so with a village, the mayor can be absent and the president would step up, council, and run a meeting. If the president, for whatever reason, is not available, we're not having a meeting. So we've had that happen.
If the president's not there yet.
We've had that happen. So I got lost in your list, but if you're running out of people, you might not.
Well, we have three people that are coming in session here, so if all three are
But it
gone.
was only one of the 10 council members. We'd still have four.
Who's running your meeting?
Council president runs the meeting.
Well, but we have to,
You're right.
our rules say that we can agree to appoint
Well,
a
then
temporary.
We have a pro tem, and then they fill in if they're both out. Can we name another person to fill in if they're both out?
Well, that's what,
I
that
mean,
was,
it's our
I mean,
rules
you
say
did it, right?
that we can do that.
know about that, but
Or
you could
Or we could-
arrange the
or could be added.
system to be, you know, one other person always.
So we could have a second backup to the council president, that could name one. That would be where it goes, your name one.
Yeah,
So,
maybe,
I don't.
maybe in the rotation or something.
Or
Probably bring up that, so it lists the people that should be in attendance. This is questioning, is it required? So it talks about, somewhere. In here. Okay, let's have it. Maybe just, if you guys could look into that and then let's kick that around for the next meeting. I guess we don't necessarily have to decide that
No.
tonight, but I guess it's just this whole succession plan. Denise brought it up and I
I
just
think it's something that you could better spell out.
Okay. That's all I have, and that was my proposal. All right. Okay, so, just for the minutes, add this to the meeting minutes, just so it's.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Rob's, presentation for the meeting minutes also.
Those are not in the minutes.
These are not in the minutes.
Can we add them to the minutes, or you don't want them to be?
Right. They're mine, that's why I put that on.
Oh, all right,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah, it's just
Okay.
because it's my thoughts.
Okay, is there anything that you presented that you want, like those cases or anything you want to add to the meeting?
I
minutes?
think, I don't think there's anything wrong with having this case in there, we get a clean copy of it.
Okay.
And then if you do that, I guess that would be ready, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that'll be on the, say, cost, it'll be on the web.
They would do it on the phone, tablet.
Okay. Josh, you ready for a motion to adjourn?
We should do a motion to continue discussion
Yeah.
Okay,
at a time and place
Okay.
to be determined.
okay, well, I'll make a motion to continue this discussion. We're gonna set the time. Or, are we ready to do that yet, or?
Better off doing it that way, you got everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, we have everybody here, we can find our calendars and.
Let's,
Well, go ahead, do it right now, Ralph.
I just want to remind folks while they're doing that, back here, I did make some copies. I don't remember how many I made, maybe 20. Where you can take, they're just one page each. You can take a photograph of it. So that will show you on the internet how to get to that Dave Yost, Attorney General's manual for the Open Meetings Act, and also that 7-minute video I talked about. So one gets you to the manual, one gets you to a video you can actually watch. It's 7 some minutes long. So you're welcome to have those.
Josh, I just recommend we do it after the next council meeting, so the council members can weigh in on,
Yeah,
so, like the week of the 25th, say. And
that
then,
sounds good.
I got something on the 27th, like 4 o'clock on the 26th, say.
Yeah, I'm open that day. Denny? March
As
26th.
long as I get the right day this time. I'm talking the 26th.
Yeah, 26th, be Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock would be fine.
What's the agenda? Like, what are we? I don't
Just to
understand.
continue discussions on this, we're gonna submit these minutes, get comment back from city council and the general public on what was discussed here, and then we'll finalize the
Rule changes.
The rule
We'll
changes, yeah, I
talk
guess
about
we'll-
the rule changes that
whether
were
or
brought
not-
up, and then discuss those
There's nothing
finally.
to debate then at this point. This is like.
No, it's
It's just a proposal. We're
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
So I guess, are we gonna submit, this is part of the meeting?
Yeah, because we got the red line in there, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have 3 things that are being included in the meeting. So it's gonna be my comments, the marked up, and then Rob's case.
And then will you allow public comment at the next meeting, since you have something to, that you're seeking?
Certainly the public comment at the council meeting on the next, actually, just as a reminder, everybody, next council meeting is not Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's the election.
So you want citizens to come to that meeting and review and give comment
Sure.
on the record,
Sure.
but not.
Yeah, give people time to mull this over and.
I suggest you get downstairs.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do that in council chambers, our next meeting. It'll be easier for public comment.
No,
It'll
he
be much
said no
easier.
public comment, but he said at city council meeting on the
Well,
20th.
We-
I'll chair.
That's what he just.
I mentioned for today's meeting, we're gonna have public comment. We can add public comment to these, to that.
You lost me. I asked the question, will the next meeting allow for public comment? And you said at a council meeting is where the public should comment because they'll be able to review this and get their 4 minutes. I just want them to understand.
But I think you changed his mind.
So you changed your mind.
I have not changed I have not made a decision on public comment at the next ad hoc meeting. But I think, obviously, they can speak on this at the next council meeting. We don't have a. agenda.
Four people can speak on it for 4 minutes.
Correct.
Just so everybody's on the same page. That's all I want them to understand.
Or written comment.
Or written comment,
Yeah,
but we don't necessarily read those in, so. That's a lot for Denise.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to continue this discussion at our ad hoc meeting, 4 o'clock on March 26th.
I second that. Vote. Denny?
All right.
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
At 4:45.
All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
I thought I heard maybe the lawyer was.
Can I think the meeting's adjourned? So I think it's appropriate that I say this, right? Because this is a First Amendment right to be in the public space and just be able to say it. But you say it's a privilege for us to be able to speak. And I do agree with that, but I also think it's a privilege for you guys to be sitting in the positions that you are representing your constituents. And so for you to even consider not giving your constituents